Alright, this is pretty much a review of the scientific method. First off, these are obviously the steps to the scientific method. I'm not going to go into detail on this slide. First things you need to do, you're going to be observing. To do that, obviously you need to use your senses. You observe things in the natural world and you're going to identify a problem. When you do identify a problem, you're going to come up with a hypothesis. A hypothesis is basically your suggested solution. Notice that I've said it can be an if-then statement. It doesn't always have to be an if-then statement. Your hypothesis will predict an outcome to your experiment. Your experiment is what you're going to use to test your hypothesis. There are certain terms you need to understand with regards to experiments. For example, your variables, your independent, dependent, and control. Your independent variables, also known as the manipulated variable, this is what you're going to change. It's the factor that you're going to change. Your independent variable, also known as your responding variable, this is the factor that you're going to observe. In other words, you're going to see what happens. Your control would be the factors that you don't do anything to. You make sure they stay the same throughout the experiment. I've got up here dry mix. It's a real quick little thing to help you remember. D stands for your dependent, also known as your responding, and it goes on the y-axis. M stands for manipulated, also known as independent, and it goes on the x-axis. Valid experiments have to have a control group and an experimental group. Your control group is the group that you're going to do absolutely nothing to. Your experimental group is your group, obviously, that has the test occurring. If you think of medicines and that type of thing, your control group is usually the one that gets the placebo. In other words, the one that gets the water pill. Again, only one variable is going to be tested and your data has to be organized. After you perform your experiment, you're going to come up with a conclusion based on your data. The conclusion is the answer to the problem. It can be false. In other words, it can disprove your hypothesis. It doesn't mean your experiment was wrong. You need to always retest after you come up with your conclusion. Verify your results. Do you get the same results over and over?